Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and today we're going to be talking about Castles of Mad King Ludwig Collector's Edition. And I don't know why this is. I always have a tendency to say Castles of Mad King von Ludwig. I don't know why. I always randomly insert that von in there unless I practice it 4 times in advance, like I definitely did in this case. But Castle of Mad King Ludwig Collector's Edition, this is going to be by Bezier Games. This is going to be their newest. I mean, I'm a little bit late to the party. It's been up for a few days now, almost a week or whatever it's been. Maybe more than that, I don't know. But with 25 days to go, we have plenty of time. This party is far from over, and the party has, well, I say only just begun, but it's probably a decent way through. With 5,557 backers, 25 days to go, $726,000 raised. On the one hand, it's incredibly successful already. On the other hand, we don't know how far this can go. If you compare it to Suburbia Collectors Edition, which we definitely will be doing a lot of comparisons throughout this video, Suburbia Collectors Edition made 12,428 backers, $1.8 million. And the fun thing, the interesting thing about this is, on the one hand, Kickstarter is a more competitive place every single year. Where to put your dollars is more competitive every single year. On the other hand, Castle of Mad King Ludwig seems to be more popular than Suburbia, which is something I would not have thought. Now, I already knew that Castle of Mad King Ludwig was rated higher than Suburbia, coming in at a 7.6 versus Suburbia at a 7.5. The Castle of Mad King Ludwig slowly but surely etches out Suburbia in terms of the rankings. But additionally to that, what we have over here, if you look at the owned copies on Board Game Geek, we have 25,000 people marking Suburbia as owned and 28,000 people marking Castle of Mad King Ludwig as owned. And the reason we're comparing these games, well, many of you will already know, but for those who don't, Suburbia and Castle of Mad King Ludwig are very similar games in the overall implementation that they are trying to do here. Both of them involve grabbing tiles to achieve certain scoring conditions, trying to figure out how to pay for those tiles, what the economic balance of all your decisions you're going to be making throughout the game is, and then they are different in their other elements past that. Suburbia has a little tile grid that slowly comes out, slowly but surely, as you grab these tiles. If we can grab them over here, you can grab these tiles over here, slowly add them to your city. Very neat, very structured, very organized, lots of math as you figure out how to min-max your way to a victory, and math as you figure out how to score it all at the end. And Castle of Mad King Ludwig, it took some of those parts and made them a little bit better. Now, first of all, they're going to be the master builder aspect, the aspect that every single round, you're going to have one master builder who's going to choose from the various tiles that they have, and then add them, and then price them all out. And then as the other players choose which tiles they want to buy and how they pay to the master builder will be able to choose from the tiles remaining in terms of adding it to their own castle. And the Mad Ludwig part, by the way, the Mad King Ludwig part, is because Mad King Ludwig is an actual person who actually had sprawling castles of craziness going on, and so this is a testament to him, because this is going to be far from the organized structure that you had in Suburbia. This is going to be a much crazier layout of how you build your castle slowly but surely. Let's see if we can find I don't know if we have any solid screenshots of a castle in progress. You can probably head to Board Game Geek and find a few screenshots there, but you'll have, I mean, this one actually looks fairly organized, but I mean, these look fairly organized, all things considered. But you're going to be building out your networks in terms of these rooms and how they score. And one room will say, well, this room gets points for every one of these rooms that's adjacent. This room will get 2 points for every room in the castle that's of that type. You're going to have all those similar scoring conditions that you have in Suburbia, all that similar idea of each tile both adding its own scoring mechanisms and triggering the scoring mechanisms of others. And the key thing is you have to match up your tiles in terms of the doorways on those tiles, to match all those up. And that's going to be a bit of a short overview as far as how this game plays for those who don't know. Ultimately, you put out tiles as a master builder, you price those tiles, you buy those tiles, you add them to your castle, make your way till the end of the game, at which point you score for all the scoring conditions you've achieved in terms of both the rooms themselves as well as other bonuses that there are going to be. And that's where we get to the Kickstarter part. So the Kickstarter part, for those who don't know, this is going to be offering the Collector's Edition, which is a giant box packed with all kinds of goodies. And what kinds of goodies do we have? Well, to begin with, we're going to have game trays. That's to begin with. Offhand, you're going to have a much bigger box with all the game trays, all deluxified out. And game trays, while they do have pros and cons in terms of, well, pros and cons is the wrong term. While they have had better and worse implementations in games, I will say that, speaking for myself as an owner of Suburbia Collector's Edition, I am a big fan of the game trays in that box over there. Hopefully they'll deliver as well over here. As a whole, in general, I find game trays are usually very impressive in what they do for the storage, the everything presentation, all that, and only once in a while have I been disappointed in their actual end result. Additionally, they're going to give you all the expansions that there are. Now, all the expansions is a relative term term because Castle of Mad King Ludwig only has 2 expansions as of right now. They have the main expansion they had, and then a bunch of Polish tiles that were a promo set for something for backing it on a crowdfunding platform, I believe. Now, both of those are going to be over here. If you go down here, you'll see the expansions. The collector's edition includes both the Secrets expansion and the limited Polish expansions, as well, and this is the key part, as well as 2 new ones. Now, the new ones are going to both be smaller expansions. They aren't going to be full-blown expansions, more like modules, as it were, but nonetheless, more content for the game. And that's going to be the Decrees expansion, which are decrees that you draft at the beginning of each round. There's 34 degrees, plus potentially more from stretch goals, and those are going to provide more scoring opportunities, bonuses, abilities, etc., all of that. Then there's going to be the towers. There's going to be a new stack of rooms, one for each color, which is going to one for each different room type, which is going to give you a different kind of scoring bonus as well that you cover with this 3D tower that you get. So you're going to have this 3D tower as well in addition to the actual towers. So that's the main thing that the base game is giving you. It's giving you a consolidated box, it's giving you the game trays, it's giving you the 2 new modules, the additional expansions they already have, plus all additional stretch goals that are unlocked throughout the course of this campaign, which as of now so far are primarily more rooms, more cars. We can scroll down to those over here. We have the Grand Atrium, the Empty Hall, with the Purple Cabinet, the Coil Cabinet, more cabinets, rooms, etc., etc. The Winter Glitter Swans with matching foyers and archives rooms. These Winter Glitter Swans, they look pretty cool. We have the Courtyard Decree favor bonus cards. It's going to be more cars. We have more rooms, more rooms, more rooms. We have some social stretch goals. I believe we should have some of these, by the way, are not yet locked, but they probably will be, and we'll see what else gets added. And then we have social stretch goals for over here we have the unique moat artwork, the 2-tiered Barbaricans, we have the printed start player markers, the enlarged start player marker, and then a bunch new rooms for the campaign. That's going to be all the stretch goals we currently have for the campaign. Now that's going to be the base pledge. In addition to that, there's 2 more pledge options. There's going to be the Royal Pledge. The Royal Pledge is going to be giving you everything you found in the base pledge, but additionally to that, if I can scroll down over here, we're going to have the Royal Pledge, which is going to give you these metal coins, the weighted plastic poker chips, and glassy smooth swan tokens. So it's giving you a bunch of deluxified upgrades, and that's going to come in at $129. The base pledge is $99, and then the Royal Pledge is going to be $129. And then from there we have the Colossal upgrade, which is going to be $169, an additional $40, and that's going to give you enlarged tiles. It's going to give you a whole bunch of the tiles for the room that are effectively 4 times the size of the original tile. If you want to get a good idea of what those tiles look like or whatnot, or what they are like in comparison in terms of size, you can check out Tantrum House's playthrough, where you can see them all standing up around the table. It's simultaneously a much more visually impressive sight, and it's also much larger. If you're getting a 4-player game of Castles Mad King Ludwig at the table, and if you're playing with those enlarged tiles, you're going to need more table space. So factor that into your decision. This is not just a visually impressive thing, it's also going to be harder to get to your smaller table if you have a smaller table. And even if you have a larger table, it'll take up more room. And that's going to be the pledge levels there. As far as shipping is going to come in at roughly $23 for the base pledge, if I can find it here. That's going to be US shipping. It'll obviously be tiered out in terms of what location you're in. So the Collector and the Royal are going to be $23, and the Colossal is $34, which means, practically speaking, that additional tile set, by the way, that Colossal pledge is going to come in its own box with a full extra set of tiles. So you basically get the core game. You still have all the small tiles too, in case you're worried about that, but you'll have a full additional set of tiles. Now, you only get 1 set of base game components, so you still can only play 1 game at a time unless you figure some system out there, but you'll have a full extra set of tiles. But that Colossal Pledge, because it's an extra $11 shipped, is effectively a $51 edition as opposed to a $40 edition. You have to take into account that increase in shipping costs, and that's going to be true across all the different pledge levels, from the US at $23 to $34, to Canada $35 to $53, all the way up to New Zealand at $40 or $83 for those 2 pledge levels. That's going to be overall what's going on in this campaign. And this is the part where we get to talk about whether it makes sense to back this one or not. And the short answer is a probably yes. That's the short answer. We can get more into it a bit, and we will get more into it a bit. But ultimately, this is not an apples-to-apples comparison to Suburbia Collectors Edition, although that will be the closest thing we're going to look at, because Suburbia's Collectors Edition, which came out a while ago, and launched for $99. We didn't have as many options there. You basically had $99 and then a whole set of additional player colors you can get as well if you want to get all 20 different player colors as opposed to picking out your own. And that was basically, so first of all, it does have a retail option as well, but the Suburbia Collector Edition was cheaper than the retail edition, although MSRP cheaper, and then gave you a bunch of the additional stretch goals or Kickstarter exclusives that you didn't see in the retail edition. And that one did a fairly good job holding its value. If you look at the price history on Board Game Geek, if you look at for all time, going back to when it first came out, it held its value very well. That $99 pledge was consistently selling for the $150 range on the aftermarket as well. So people got their money back and then some. They covered the shipping, they covered the game, and they made a little money as well in terms of selling out their regular $99 pledge. as time went on, which is natural, this is, I mean, we're talking back in, 2019, mid-2019, as time went on, a year and a half later, going on nearly 2 years now, you can see that even now it's still holding its value, but it's holding its value with you losing on shipping. So coming in at roughly, people are selling their copies for, instead of $150 to $200 for that $99 pledge, you're instead seeing pricing in the range of $100 to $150. So still some people out there who are managing to get their money back and then some, but there are also people who are selling it at what they paid, which effectively means they're losing shipping, because they'll charge shipping to the person buying it, but they paid $100 plus $23, let's say, and they're getting back $100. So they've lost the shipping, the $23 down the road. And again, keep in mind, even now, it's still a mixed bag. Even now, there's still a range as to what these are selling for. So overall, using Suburbia as a reference point, before we get into Castle of Mad King Ludwig, using Suburbia as a reference point, there seems to be a good enough set of data to show that this will hold its value overall, or at least that one did. Now, Castle of Mad King Ludwig is going to be different on multiple counts. So first of all, it's not coming in with the same amount of expansions that Suburbia had. Suburbia had an extra expansion and some extra promos as well in the initial Kickstarter. Both of them came to the table with new content, but I believe Suburbia, in terms of content alone, edges out Masters of Mad King, Castle of Mad King Ludwig by a small amount. Secondly, the pledge level that adds the extra coins, Suburbia had metal coins from the get-go on the $99 pledge level. Castle of Mad King Ludwig does not have the metal coins at the $99 pledge level. It gives them to you in the royal pledge level at $129, along with some extra stuff as well. But, and there's a but, because it's both ways and whatnot, in the base pledge of Castle of Mad King Ludwig, you are getting those 3D towers and whatnot, which those are a decent chunk of extra, just plastic and miniatures or whatever it is. Personally, I'm not personally actually drawn in by them, but they are extra content. They do add to the value that the game is giving you, and they are giving you additionally 2 modules as opposed to 1 extra module, although in terms of the content, I don't know if it actually is that much more versus just having the number 2 versus 1. In terms of sheer content, you're getting an additional expansion. They're both giving you small amounts of extra content in the Kickstarter. So overall, as a whole, as a baseline, Suburbia Collector's Edition did hold its value. In terms of Castle Mad King Ludwig, I would say it's generally going to be mostly the same, but the pricing does seem to be a little bit worse comparatively speaking. It's hard to say exactly because it's not an apples to apples comparison in terms of the components, in terms of what you get, in terms of all of that. But if you back at that $99 pledge, I believe you will 100% get your money back. Well, I can't say I believe you'll 100%. I am fairly certain you will get your money back on that $99 pledge, at least for the first 6 months to a year or whatnot. This still will prove to hold its value. You have to remember that Suburbia's Collector's Edition, not only do people get their money back, they were able to sell it for more than what they paid for it. So to say that you may make less, you may not be able to sell it for $150, but you maybe only sell your $99 pledge at $130, that might be true, but you'll still be covering your costs, including shipping, which is what I focus on. I don't focus on whether you'll make money on it, I focus on whether you'll get your money back. It's a different category. Making money on Kickstarter is a whole different conversation that is outside the scope of what I try to do on this channel. And that's going to be the Collector's Edition. The Royal Edition coming in at $29 is giving you the metal coins, but it's giving you a few other component upgrades as well. I still believe you'll see your money back on that one as well, but possibly a little bit less, because it just depends on the amount of content they add. I think for the most part that $99 base pledge will probably see a slightly better return, but in terms of getting what you want for, if you want to get those metal coins, if you want to get those plastic chips and you still want to back confidently, I believe you can back fairly confidently on that one as well. The Colossal Pledge is where we see no comparison that we can really utilize as a comparison. The Colossal Pledge is giving you a whole new thing. It's giving you deluxified larger tiles, which is cool. For someone who's a fan of Castle of Mad King Ludwig, that's going to be like extra beautiful, pretty stuff that you can put on your table, and people will want to get their hands on that after the fact. And so yes, I believe that will hold its value as well, but it's an extra $51. So it has to be, just to break even, you have to be selling for an extra $51 after the fact. And in terms of making money or making margins or whatnot, I would have to sell at 60, 65 or whatnot, which is, it's a lot. On the one hand, it's giving you cool extra tiles for a game you love or a game someone else loves. On the other hand, it's a lot of money for no extra gameplay and just larger. And larger is both a pro and a con, depending on your table space, depending on your situation. So overall, I would say if you compare this to Suburbia Collector's Edition and you extrapolate from there, overall, the Castle of Mad King Ludwig will hold its value, or will likely hold its value, and is a decent back. I do not believe it will necessarily see the same level as collectors or whatnot as the original Suburbia did, but also you have to factor in as well the fact that, like I said, Suburbia and Castle of Mad King Ludwig, while they are head-to-head in their ratings and general popularity, if you look at it, at the end of the day, I mean, look at the ratings. We have 22,000 ratings on Castle of Mad King Ludwig. We have 21,000 ratings. So in terms of the amount of ratings, in terms of the actual, the score on Board Game Geek, in terms of the number of people owned, Castle of Mad King Ludwig is edging it out on all 3 fronts by small numbers, but still small numbers. In fact, if we look at 4Trade, we have 700 506 people trading Suburbia, and we have only 513 trading Castles of Mad King Ludwig, meaning a smaller percentage of those owning are trading it away, which means, again, it means a higher absorption, higher maintenance, higher retention of the game. So overall, Castle of Mad King Ludwig is beating it out on all counts, and that will likely help its aftermarket in that sense. And that's basically going to be it. As far as myself, am I backing it? I haven't really decided, honestly. I'm torn, because here's my problem. My problem is my collection is constantly growing, and I constantly need to play the games I love and not just the games I like. And Suburbia, as much as I like it, rarely leaves the shelf. It rarely leaves the shelf, despite the fact that I really enjoy it when I do play it. I need to pull it out again. I need to see just how much I enjoy Suburbia. I did like Castle of Mad King Ludwig, but my initial play, I would say I'm in the minority as someone who, based on my initial play of Castle of Mad King Ludwig, I preferred Suburbia in terms of the city building and the cleanliness of that system as opposed to Castle of Mad King Ludwig. So I'm definitely pulled in because, I mean, it's large Stuff and Kickstarter extras and deluxified. Plus, I believe it'll hold its value, which usually makes a lot easier to justify all those things. But I still have to decide, and I'm sure I'll decide before the next 25 days are up, but I haven't yet made a decision yet. That's basically everything in terms of Castle Mad King Ludwig. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it somewhat helpful. I am Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and as always, have a good one.